Hello, hello, and welcome to our ongoing book club, The Art of Returning to Love. And today we're going to take a little bit of a detour, if you will, and talk about food, why food matters. So, food, I'm using that word matter in two ways. One, it matters that because it's important, and then matter as in, physical matter. So, I want to remind us that every particle and wave of life is the frequency of love, unless a human being distorts that in some way with fear or usually it's fear. We've talked about the myriad of ways that fear shows up. That's in the book. There's lists of ways that we can recognize fear taking over, and then the counterbalancing energy of love. But we also can talk about chemicals and pesticides and denatured food as a version of distorted energy, right? So the reason why it's so important to eat real food and food that is whole as possible and food that is alive is because we take that energy into our own body, and then our body in its infinite intelligence turns it into blood and nourishment for organs and brain fuel, all the things that we need to thrive physically and mentally, right? Like all of this affects us at every level of our being. And one of the things I love to contemplate is that when I eat whole and real food, I'm actually exchanging my energy with Mother Earth. And the cosmic life forces too, because obviously food won't grow without the sun. The sun is the light that lifts the energy, the variety of energy out of seeds and becomes the bounty and the food that we eat. Now, the least amount of distortion that we impose upon this real and whole food, the healthier it is for our body, right? So we're literally taking this energy and this life force from Mother Earth, and we're it's an alchemy, right? We're turning it into our own matter day after day, month after month, year after year, right? And that is an important thing to consider. It's actually one of the hell. Oh, sorry, I need to close some applications here, I'm being told. So let me just do that real quick so our time together doesn't get thwarted. Okay, so where was I? It's one of the reasons I actually, oh, I know what I was going to say is that this is what helps me be devoted to eating the best quality of food that I can, because I can actually feel the difference between eating, low quality, distorted, you processed food versus real and whole food. I pretty much only eat real and whole food anymore. That was a journey. It took some time. The thing that I'm working on now is not overeating. I can eat more food than my body actually needs in any one given sitting. I don't do that every time, but when I do, I notice that there's a sluggishness afterwards. My sinuses get filled up a little bit more. I otherwise don't have sinus things, but as I've gotten older, I notice and there's a mechanism in Chinese medicine that explains why that happens. We're not going to talk about that today, but just know that all these things carry reasons why they're happening. So every choice has its consequence at the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual level. So why did I want to talk about this day today? Because if we can get our relationship with food, in good order, and all of us, to some degree or another, have some version of dysfunctionality in our relationship with food. So we're really looking to be conscious about that and start tweaking our relationship with food so that it becomes better and better over time, rather than feeling like it's all or nothing and we have to do this diet for the thing to work, or that kind of thing. That's not really how it works. How it works is being in alignment and connected in ourselves. We've been talking about grounding and connecting practically this whole time. There's on the resource page for the book, there's a free download for that grounding and connecting. And the one of the so being in that connection helps us with our relationship with food. It helps us make better choices. It helps us be present when we're taking that life force in, so that our own that presence actually elevates the nourishment of that food. Now that might seem a little fantastical, but it's actually, very, very um, true. And it's one of the reasons why saying grace over our food is considered to be an infusion of love, if you will. Let's just say it that way. So we're blessing our food so that it becomes the highest level of nourishment in this meal, with this bite, in this body, until our next meal, kind of thing. And that's an intention. We know by Masaru Emoto's work, the Japanese researcher who discovered that water carries vibration based on our energy, our intention, and we can infuse our water with the vibration of love or the vibration of fear, and all the variations of each of those, right? And it becomes a different crystalline structure based on what our intention is, and how we infuse that water. Well, consider that we're 65% water, and we can infuse our own sacred waters by choice, and the food, the waters in our body, the lymph, the extracellular liquid fluid space on the outside of our cells, is also interacting with our food. So imagine if we're blessing our own sacred waters, blessing our food, and then there's this exchange when the food comes in, and the digestive process, and the extraction of nourishment and nutrients taken into the bloodstream to deliver, that nourishment to every part of our body. The brain loves that, So if you have a foggy or unclear mind, one of the places to start, one of the core foundations to start is our food. If you don't have a lot of energy, if you don't sleep well, if you have any sort of dis-ease, processes of things not working the way they should be, one of the core foundational places to start is our food, because all of that life force gets turned into the life force that we are. And if the life force that we are is falling below, the level that we know is optimal, or at least, feeling decent, then one of the first places to go to is our food. So I hope that makes sense. I would love to hear, whatever thoughts you have about this, because as long as I've been working with people, and I have noticed that people have a funny relationship with food. And then when we sort of segment it out into when I work with women in particular, and this is, the Sacred Health Academy includes food as one whole module, because it's something that we all have to get right with if we're going to access the greatest amount of wholeness that we have access to, right? Because there it is again, when we eat whole food, we are whole, right? So if we're looking for wholeness, then one of the places that we have to be in a more conscious and elevated relationship with is our relationship with food. We have lots of weird exchanges with food. We're afraid of it. We're afraid it's going to make us fat, or sick, or we're afraid we're not going to have enough. That's actually one of my things that I'm constantly working with. I have this weird concern that I'm not going to get food. I like knowing where my next meal is coming from, even when I'm eating my current meal, and I have nothing in this lifetime to point to, right? That I've never starved, but in our DNA, we carry, from our lineages, we carry so many experiences of our ancestors having starved, right? There are people on the planet today that are dying of hunger. This is a very clear and present danger to our most protective self, right? The part of us that wants to just keep us alive. So it's a thing. And what I'm constantly working with is that, God willing, this continues. I always have access to my next meal, so I can heal. I can constantly be working with releasing and healing that part of me that is afraid that I might starve to death, right? When I read books like, that where there's an element of that in there, I can feel the contraction in my body. So I know that this is one of the pieces that is mine to work with, right? If it's present, if it's in my awareness, it's mine to work with. Whether or not I've ever had that experience or not, it's still something that's mine to tend, right? So, so the weirdness of our relationship with food, we are well served to tend to that so that we can release what is irrational and enhance what is a right exchange with this by way of food. So I hope that makes sense. Well, there was something else I was going to say about that. It had to do with, yeah, I guess it was our fears. I think what I would do, just as a place to start with this exploration in your own relationship with food, I have done this in the past. I have several journals where I've just dedicated it to food so I can be clear outside of myself on a page, written with my hand, what I'm really thinking when it comes to food, where I get wonky, what distracts me, what makes me want to go completely unconscious, which is an element of addiction, and eat things that are terrible for me, where I feel really bad after that. I don't do that as much anymore, but I spent decades doing that, right? So, and not even realizing it in the beginning. I mean, I just thought, oh, well, that's normal. That's what everyone does. Everyone eats, like, sleeves of cookies after dinner until they conk out and, wake up feeling horrible. Uh, anyway, there are so many versions of that. And I literally set myself up every single morning and I ask for light to wash through my entire relationship with food, releasing me from all addiction, attachment, overeating, and fear of hunger. And so that I can cultivate a trust that I will always have what I need in, the right food in the right proportions that are that is most optimal for my body at any given time. Things like that have helped me go from unconscious overeating addictive patterning to, this is the right choice for me now. I want to bless my food. I want to attract to myself the best meal and feel it and know it consciously for this moment in time, right? So I would really invite you to, to consider those kinds of things. I know there are a lot of programs and some of them are better than others now, but if whatever program you choose for losing weight or eating better or that kind of thing, if it doesn't include this exchange, this relationship of exchange with the life force that's beating your heart, pumping your blood, and digesting your food right now as we speak, if that part is left out, it may not stick. That's what I've discovered over time, and of course, we're working with hundreds and hundreds of women. So I really encourage you to think about that uh, and put it in your prayers or your meditation or whatever way that you use to connect with that which is greater than you, as a focus that you'd like to have without being overly focused on it, because then we get tight, right? Like it's a dance, right? Between, I want to pay attention to this, but I don't want to be obsessed. So where's that middle road for me? That everyone has a different middle road. I don't have the same middle road as you. You don't have the same middle road as the next person, but your middle road is available to you when you are in connection with your higher wisdom, your higher intelligence, the part of you that knows exactly what you need in every meal. A lot of women get really nervous when they're asked to trust their body and to feel into what it is that their system is asking for now. That is, but that's okay. You can walk yourself into that over time. You can have some sort of guardrails up, if you will, and say, okay, well, this is what I can choose from in terms of my food. Whole. I mean, this is how I have done it. Whole, real, the maximum amount of life force, the least amount of processing, organic. Um, I mean, that kind of makes the choice making a little bit easier because what I'm going to be eating is going to be good for me. And then you can start listening in little by little. You can say, what, of what I have in my kitchen, what's calling me, what's resonating, what would just taste really good, that isn't a sleeve of cookies, right? Like, I that stuff doesn't even live in my house anymore, because if it does, then I'm going to be more and more tempted. Actually, my husband has it now, and how I know I'm sort of over some of these humps is because it doesn't tempt me. I mean, like, I could care less that he's got ice cream in the freezer. I mean, what's helpful is that I don't really love how cold ice cream is, but he's got other stuff too. And so you want to have these places where you're becoming liberated in your relationship with food, and that you start trusting yourself in your exchange and your choices, and you're becoming more conscious, and you're doing this in a co-creative way with your higher presence. And I will be blunt and say, if you don't do it in a co-creative way with your higher presence, your higher wisdom, your higher knowing, then there will be more oftentimes than not that failure, or sort of like making the wrong choices will show up. But in that co-creative dance, you have a much, much greater chance of success. In fact, it's really the only way to activate success, and with with lasting impact, right? Not just like, oh yay, I did good for a week, and then I'm off the wagon again. No, this is like this groove that you're creating, that becomes so deep, and that the traction is so strong that you're not going to go off the rails, that kind of thing. And that doesn't come overnight, but that does come with practice. And I'm inviting you to that practice because it matters. It really does matter. It matters because it's important, and it matters because it is your matter. So let me know what you're thinking about this. And oh yeah, I keep saying to myself, I'm going to say this more in the middle of our time together. Telling you who I am in case you have no idea who I am. If we've not yet met, I'm Laurie Morse, a 30-year practitioner of Chinese medicine and the director of the Sacred Health Academy. And in all of these aspects, the Sacred Health Academy is an online journey where women walk together, like-hearted women walk together for the purpose of cultivating sacred health, right? A calm mind, a peaceful heart, and a vital body. So yeah, all that information is ways to get the book. And if you would like more information on the Sacred Health Academy, it's all available on this page. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. And thank you for this consideration. It's important.